I couldn't describe the scale of the power that your body possesses. If I were to describe it, I'd still be understating it, but it's quite literally a vessel of cosmic technology, yet you operate this advanced system at 30% capacity. Patanjali, in the Yoga Sutras, called this state chitta vritti, mind fluctuations that drain your life force. These seemingly normal daily habits silently steal your energy, leaving you depleted while connected to infinite power. The first silent vampire of your energy, overthinking and mental clutter. Patanjali defined yoga as yogas chitta vritti nirodha, the cessation of the fluctuations of the mind. Why? He recognized something modern neuroscience confirms. Your brain consumes 20% of your body's energy despite being only 2% of your weight. When thoughts cycle repeatedly, they create neural pathways that become increasingly automatic. Your brain becomes more efficient at wasting energy. From a yogic perspective, excessive thinking creates what Patanjali called vrittis, mental modifications that disturb one's natural state of clarity. These modifications transform from temporary ripples into habitual whirlpools, constantly pulling one's consciousness into their spin. Try this right now. Close your eyes for 5 seconds and count how many thoughts appear without your permission. That surge of uninvited mental activity demonstrates exactly what Patanjali warned against: the automatic drain on your system. Many mistake this constant mental chatter for normal functioning. I challenge that assumption. What we consider normal mental activity more closely resembles disease than health. The average person has between 60,000 and 80,000 thoughts daily, with 90% repeating from yesterday. Would you consider a machine efficient if 90% of its operations produced identical, unnecessary output? Patanjali prescribed specific practices to address this energy leak. Pratipaksha bhavanam, which is deliberately cultivating the opposite thought, serves as one technique. When negative thought patterns arise, consciously introduce their opposite. This creates new neural pathways that eventually replace the energy-draining patterns. But there exists a more direct approach: periods of absolute mental silence. Not meditation apps, not guided visualizations, raw, uncomfortable silence where you confront the addiction to thought itself. Patanjali called this state nirodha, the complete cessation of mental fluctuations. Even 30 seconds of true mental silence recharges your system more effectively than hours of so-called relaxation with background mental chatter. If something shifted in your awareness, give us a like and subscribe. We always aim to teach truth that transforms your energy, not temporary motivation. The difference between information and transformation defines your experience of life. The second major energy drain is poor sleep hygiene. Patanjali described sleep as one of the 5 vrittis, or mental modifications. However, unlike other vrittis, sleep has the potential for profound restoration when properly aligned with natural rhythms. Sleep represents more than physical restoration. It embodies a daily death and rebirth cycle that, when properly aligned, connects you to cosmic regenerative forces. Ayurveda, the sister science to yoga, identifies the hours between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. as pitta time, when your body conducts its deepest repair work. During deep sleep, your glymphatic system activates to clear metabolic waste from your brain. Growth hormone peaks, muscle tissue repairs, and memory consolidates. Miss this window repeatedly, and you operate with impaired cognitive function and compromised immunity. But Patanjali understood something modern sleep science now confirms. The quality of your sleep directly correlates with the quality of your consciousness during waking hours. The 4th sutra of Patanjali states, vritti sarupyam itaratra. At other times, we identify with the modifications of the mind. Poor sleep amplifies this misidentification, making it harder to distinguish between your true self and passing mental states. Many avoid proper sleep because unconsciousness feels like surrender, like death. A part of you resists this dissolution because the ego fears annihilation. Recognize this resistance for what it represents, clinging to limited identity at the expense of your power. Try this tonight. As you prepare for sleep, consciously set the intention. I release identification with mental modifications. Notice how this shift changes the quality of your rest. The third energy-draining habit is unhealthy emotional attachments. Patanjali dedicates significant portions of the Yoga Sutras to addressing what he calls kleshas, afflictions that bind consciousness to suffering. The primary klesha is raga, which is attachment to pleasure, and dvesha, which is aversion to pain. These attachments create what the yogic tradition calls samskaras, energetic grooves that automatically direct your life force along the same patterns, repeatedly creating identical results. You end up funding your own limitations. How much mental bandwidth remains occupied with replaying conversations, imagining future scenarios, or maintaining grievances? That mental activity represents energy actively flowing out of your system into scenarios that may not even exist anymore except in your mind. If you identified an emotional attachment draining your energy right now, drop a comment below with one word representing what you stand ready to release. Naming it marks the first step to reclaiming that power. The yogic solution transcends positive thinking or affirmations. Patanjali prescribed vairagya, dispassion or non-attachment. This practice requires discernment rather than repression. You observe attachment arising without feeding it with attention. Eventually, the pattern dissolves due to a lack of energetic nourishment. Many misinterpret this teaching as emotional coldness. On the contrary, true non-attachment allows fuller emotional experience because you no longer fear being controlled by emotions. You experience them completely without becoming identified with them. These three habits, overthinking, poor sleep, and emotional attachment, manifest as expressions of a single problem Patanjali identified: avidya, ignorance of our true nature. When you forget your true identity as pure consciousness, you mistake the modifications of the mind for reality itself. This fundamental misidentification creates all other energy drains. The yogic tradition offers a comprehensive system for reclaiming this energy. Asana, posture, releases physical tension that stores emotional residue. Pranayama, breath control, directs life force where needed. Pratyahara, sensory withdrawal, prevents energy leakage through the senses. Dharana, concentration, focuses scattered attention. Dhyana, meditation, dissolves identification with thought. Samadhi, absorption, reconnects you with infinite source. These practices sound mystical but represent practical technologies for energy management. They survived thousands of years because they work, not because they appeal to belief. Try them and see for yourself. Some spiritual teachers claim complete detachment as the goal. I challenge this view. The highest state resembles fluid attachment, complete engagement without energy leakage. Water flows around obstacles without losing its essential nature. Your consciousness can develop this same quality, complete engagement without depletion. The transformation happens when you realize these habits can be reversed through consistent practice. Your overthinking becomes discernment. Your sleep becomes conscious restoration. Your attachments become compassionate engagement without identification. What would your existence look like with even 30% more energy available daily? Consider how this reclaimed power might transform your relationships, work, creativity, and spiritual growth. The power for change exists not in more information but in direct realization. Right now, in this moment, you can feel the difference between scattered attention and focused presence. That feeling, that direct knowing, stands as your true teacher. Everything else merely points to what you already access. Your enlightenment represents no future event, simply the progressive reclamation of energy currently given away to habits that diminish rather than empower you. Begin today, not with grand plans, but with moment-to-moment awareness of where your most precious resource, your consciousness itself, flows.